check this out. What? Oh, come on. No! I kicked the table. Could have been worse. Oh, no! No! How do I stop this? Oh. Let's do it again. Time for the roof. I ran out of red bicycle cards, so we're going to be moving on to other ones, which is unfortunate because I wanted it all to look the same color. That's okay. We have these ones now. Just for the record, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. Yes! This is awesome. Cool! So I was watching this video the other day and it featured this man who has been stacking cards professionally since 1994. And he is pretty much the undisputed greatest card stacker to have ever lived. I mean, just look at his works of art.
How many cards do you have at home?
I don't even know. I have tens and tens and tens of thousands of decks in a warehouse.
Wow. Okay.
You know, just in case, right?
So I thought to myself, I want to know how to do that. As it turns out, it's actually incredibly simple. Not easy if you're going to be building more than one layer, but incredibly simple in terms of how it's done. And he calls it the grid system. What you're going to want to do is grab a textured surface. This is a coffee table with a light blanket on top, because although it's possible to learn on a slippery surface, this will be much, much easier to get started. So, right off the bat, you need fold cards. What you're trying to do is line them up in the center of each one and create 90-degree angles. It doesn't have to be perfect, but try to get it as close to that as you can. So they can all support each other's weight. We're good to go. Then you can build out, and I like to do it in a spiral so it stays symmetrical. Also, another thing that you should know is you have to control your breath, because if you're breathing right on it, it's going to fill these gaps and it's going to shoot the cards out. So I like to kind of take a deep breath and just control my breathing that way. It's very meditative. It's very meditative. You also want to make sure that no cards have a single point of contact. So if you look here, there's no single card that I can add to the structure that would complete another one of these squares. If I were to put it here, this has a single point of contact, and then you could put one here and here, which would also open up this one if you can visualize that. So in this case, I won't leave this one here. We're going to start with this. Obviously it can get bigger, but this is what we'll start with. For the roof, the guy says to have the cards facing up this way because the cards will tend to dance more if they're like this, because these cards are somewhat inclined to bend this way already through shuffling, or I don't entirely understand it, but I'm going to take the guy's word for it. And you want to make sure that it's as evenly distributed as possible on the top. When I was first starting out, I put one in the middle and then I kind of go around like a circle this way, and I was cool, it looked good, except what that did was it created more cards on the center, like a thickerness of it. And so then when you build up the second layer, the cards are more dancey because it's not level. So this is how he does it, this is how I learned. Oops. 6 of hearts, what are you doing? And this, believe it or not, is extremely strong. So check this out. We'll take my iPad, put it like that. Let's grab a MacBook Pro. Let's grab some magazines. I don't know. I don't really have this planned out. Like so. Don't forget the contemplative rosary. How could you, right? And as you'll see, it can hold kind of an insane amount of weight for how many cards are supporting it. When I was first learning how to do this, I was so nitpicky about each card perfectly lining up with the next and that there were 0 gaps because I thought that would be the most strong. But that's actually not the case. It's okay to have them slightly off-centered because as you'll notice, the cards actually, they just bend the way that they need to fill the gaps, right? Which is kind of insane. So don't worry about that too much. It'll be just fine. Building additional layers gets tricky because these surfaces of the cards are slippery. It's not as forgiving as a textured surface. Second layer. That happens a lot. Don't get discouraged. Which brings me to my next point. When you're cleaning up a failed layer, I like to use other cards to kind of grab them because you don't want the shingles to be unevenly distributed, right? So try to keep those as much the same as you can. And then give it another go, huh? Is this your card? Oh, that doesn't, okay.
Many months later.
Oh, for crying out loud. No! Okay. Break time. No. We're starting from scratch. Oh, thank God. In case you haven't heard of the story of the 3 little piggies and Big Bad Wolf, it goes something like this. Thanks for watching.